Hey guys, I hope you guys are having a good night. If you guys are on the page, you know my son has been sick. He's been throwing up all day, and we thought he was done. And we went to put him to bed. He just got out of the bath. He was not done throwing up. We are just getting him around and getting him back in bed, and I will be on. I really want to do this. I've been waiting to do this, and I've been holding off, and I apologize. A lot has just been going on. But I'm going to go do that, and I will be right back on. If you guys want to stick around, tell me how your day was and what brought you in tonight. What are you guys here for? What are you guys are curious about? I know what I want to talk about, but it's an open chat, so I'm going to let it, of the cases that I have talked about on my page and on the channel here. So yeah, how was your day? And let me know what brought you here. And I will be right back. Whew, okay, guys. I hope you guys are here. I'm going to start sharing real quick. I thank you for bearing with me. I just have a very sick little boy on my hands, and I'm going to be quite honest. I think I might be starting to get it. We thought he was.
Okay, guys.
Oh, I got my echo on. Hold on just a second.
I'm going to start sharing real quick. I thank you for bearing with me.
Oh, my stomach is just. There we go. Starting, and then whatever it is came on strong with him, and I think it's coming on just as strong with me. So I think after today I might be taking a few. But I'm just so excited. There's just so much I want to talk about, and I've been trying to come on. There's just been a lot going on, and I feel behind as it is. If Jen is watching right now, or Lisa, I promise I will. I just don't want to get too far behind. I might feel behind already because we've just had a lot going on behind the scenes. Also, with the slideshow, if you guys are watching, families, I've had the question, how to send it to the page personally. You can post it in the comment and tag me. And, people will make sure that I see it. We just want to get all pictures in. I really, really would like to get pictures in by Sunday, because I really would like to post at least a running of the slideshow. And by that, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, we're asking all Tennessee families with questionable cases, missing persons, not just out of the 13th district, but all of Tennessee, as you see in the chart I just had up there. We're asking for pictures with this information. Oh, let me get rid of my banner real quick. Sorry, guys, I'm catching on to this multitask thing. One day we'll get there. We go. We're asking for something like this. If you don't know how to attach it like that, it doesn't have to be that. That's just what I'm going with. If you are artistic enough and you can put it on there, go ahead and put it on there and send it. If not, just send a picture with the information and we will put it on for you. What we want to do is we want to take all the pictures like this and make a nice slideshow with the information on there. And it's really cool just to bring awareness, further. That's what we're trying to do with the whole unraveling. And, I am excited because I feel like it is. It's getting somewhere. And I have people messaging in and saying, and commenting, thank you. And, I am very appreciated. Thank you very much for that. But I feel like as much as I want to be up here and say thank you, it's really the families. There's this group of very strong advocates and families that have joined and formed this family. The billboard people have been asking about. Ask for information, because I did not come up with this. This was not me. This is actually, as you see, it's paid for by the peaceless families. They want justice. So, they all kind of came together. They have a GoFundMe that supports it, and they're trying to put up. This one got approved. I'm not sure when it's going to be going up yet. But as soon as I know, I will let you guys know, because they'll let me know. But they from what I understand, they are trying to do individual billboards too. Courtney Cash has an individual one. I seen one for Josh. So if you're interested in that, please, I will point you in the right direction for that. I am just simply, posting it and helping bring awareness. So, but I will definitely point you, if you're a family out there saying, hey, I have a child, I have a loved one, and that should be on that board, please let me know that you are interested in that for sure, and I will point you in the right direction. But the Unraveling series that we're doing is for Tennessee. And Miss Courtney Cash, I've been talking to her family for a few months now. And as you can see, and I just, as I notice I'm getting a bigger following, I just want to reiterate the fact that my page is very based on the family and loved ones, surrounding the people that you're seeing. So, they want you to conversate. They want you to, that's why they're doing this, Courtney was murdered in 2014, and the family feels they have just had a very negligent justice, half-assed justice. And she just she had an interview, Dennis. I'm very, very thankful for that. With COVID, everything, it just wasn't aired, and it got aired. And I'm very happy for that, and we'll get into that. But no, we're just trying to bring awareness to Tennessee. And it just so happens, if you watch that interview, I have it posted on my page. I'm not sure if I could put it on my YouTube. So if I'm allowed to do that, somebody let me know, because I will sure drop it on my YouTube. I was going to live stream it, but I'm really not sure. And I don't want to. It's Fox 17, Dennis Ferrier. He did an interview, aired an interview that Cindy did back in 2020. And, that's exactly what I do this page for. He will always have a special place on my table because he did that. These families are scared. People are scared, and sometimes because of that, stories get pushed down. And for a Cash name, I couldn't understand why there had never been anything done. So we did it. And then he did it. And I, stuck your neck out, stick your neck out type situation. Sorry, you guys. I think I am getting a little sick. So yeah, we need people like that. We need people like Dennis. So he'll always be, have a nice spot in my heart for that. But he, he really zoned in on this district in Bryant, Illinois. And as you notice, it just so happens that right now, Unraveling Tennessee has been a lot of District 13, and that is DA Bryant Dunaway's district. If you guys are watching, all that in the blue, that's him. That's his backyard is what I've been calling it. And it's growing. I haven't updated this yet. There are more names that need to go on here, just to be honest. And then as you see, we're trying to grow the other districts too. So just because you're not District 13 doesn't mean that we're not going to listen, because we will. So I just wanted everybody, I really want the slideshow pictures, everything in, because I really want to run that slideshow sometime next week. So that'll be amazing for the families. So yeah, I'm going to jump right into some of the things that I want to talk about. First being that, if you're on my channel and you're on my page, here, let me get rid of my right here. I hate that it covers up I just show it so people know where to go, where to find me. Because when I look at Facebook, you can ask the people I talk to, can you send me, what does it look like? So I know so I kind of like to give a picture for everybody to look me up. That's what you're looking for. Well, where'd it go? What am I doing? I don't know. I'm learning, you guys. If you go to my first videos, it's been a work in progress. I like feedback very much. Constructive criticism. And I've had, if y'all ever were around for my Courtney Cash first video, you'll know. But I kind of redid it, and I thank you, and I do appreciate the positive feedback. It's awesome. That just means that the awareness is getting out there, and I'm doing my job. So I did a an interview, because I like to talk to those closest to Katie and to Aaron and to Courtney. There's a lot of talk out there in cases like this, and the family gets lost, and that's all I want to do is find what they're saying. So when I did Katie's interview, I had a very close friend come on of them, and the family was okay with that. And there was just not a lot on the circumstances on Katie. In fact, she is out of all the cases that I've run, she is the one that just literally has nothing. And I mean, she went missing on October 1st, excuse me, 2019. And there's not been a trace. She didn't have a cell phone at the time. So it was literally like she walked out of the door and vanished. And we hear about cases like this, and it's just so crazy. But the thing that stuck with me the most was that where Katie disappeared from, it was the Bug Tussle, Ackersville area in Kentucky. But if you go look that up, I mean, the Tennessee line is right there, y'all. She is, I'm a superhero fan, so like if the Hawk was to jump, he would literally take 3 big hop, skips, and a jump, and he would be right on Katie's road from the 13th district, really. So that's right where she was, and there's just a lot going on in the 13th district. In fact, the day that Katie went missing, they pay their electric bill over the Tennessee line. And she was a walker. She didn't have a car. So, she left her mom's house and walked, and I've hinted on, the fact of they are windy roads. It's a very rural area. If somebody may have struck her and was afraid, or whatever the cause. I was asking around if anybody at the time had a damaged vehicle. Because it's time. I understand it was an accident, but it's time, and then, but the thing in the back of my mind was there's also this whole sex trafficking. It's real. In Aaron's case, he touched on it. He said something to his mom about that. And it's just so close, What if she was walking and somebody picked her up and took her across the line? And it's a very real thing to think about. She's in close proximity, and she was very, very familiar with going over that line. So it's very plausible to think that somebody may have picked her up and continued over. There have been no leads. And what's interesting, and I'm not saying anything, and I'm not bashing anybody, but in all the cases that I talk about and the stories that are run, you go on my page and there's friends that reach out and talk about these people. And, besides, Katie's family, and the one close friend, I haven't really heard anybody close to Katie speak. And I would be really interested to hear from them. Just for many reasons. Just, her family knows her from one perspective. Her friends are obviously going to know her from a different perspective. And I would just be really interested in knowing about her from their perspective. What was going on around, even anything unrelated. What was she up to around that time? What was she doing? And as far as I know, there hasn't been anybody that said, oh, she was talking to the secret. There's nothing been like that. She was last seen at her mom's house, but her mom has been thoroughly, this is a case where it's not so much that the LE aren't doing any, there's just nothing, and nobody has come forward. So it would just, to have that happen for them would be huge, and it would be so brave on that person's part, because there is nothing. I mean, they have had scent dogs, and the scent dogs are working because they had a piece of article, that was Katie's, and it was in a vehicle. So and they would hit on that vehicle, but they wouldn't hit anywhere else. So you would know that if her scent was around there, they would have. But again, this was a season. It had rained and snowed, and it was a time after. But my point is, there is nothing, y'all, on her. There is nobody, not a friend. I always tell families, this is your voice. You are more than welcome to reach out, anybody, and I will talk to you. But friends wise, I haven't really had anybody reach out about Katie, and I would really like to see that happen. She deserves a lot of support, and I would love to see that happen. So I want that, because I would love to do an Unraveling Tennessee episode for her too, and kind of incorporate her into that. It is a possibility that she could have crossed Tennessee lines. It's right there. She's kissing it. So I want to, I want more information on that. And I would love, I have ran it, and I will run it, and I will say and repeat the same thing over and over, just to keep her face and what we know out there. But I would love to be able to bring an update. That's what I'm here for. That's what this whole page is for. So I really want to add her. She will be added. I'm going to add her to the chart. She'll be in the slideshow, because there's just something telling me that she needs to be added. So next, I want to kind of go over Parker's case, kind of give a little recap. This one is kind of an ongoing. I really, when I posted about Parker, there was just such an amazing amount of support. Not even just like tips or lead, but just people reaching out just to say what an incredible person he was. And it was so enlightening. I loved it. I mean, he was a very avid guitar player. What I want to know, if anybody is listening in on Parker tonight, yeah, Jan, sorry, Jan, if you're still here, I was reading your comment. I will, yeah, yes, I will. Well, I think that she is very close to that line. And the whole time that I was talking about Katie and doing the interview, just something in the back of my mind, just once I really linked up with Lisa, and she was like, these families, like this whole backyard 13 district here is run, I mean, this is strictly my opinion, ran by trash and needs some cleanup. The trashman needs to come and clean it up. That's a better phrase. Just something kept on telling me she's just so close to Tennessee. I'm not saying there's a connection, but I'm saying that I want to bring her into that awareness, because she's so close. So yes, absolutely. I will remind me. I'm very sick. I'm dealing with the sick boy, but I will reach out to me, message me, and let me know. So Parker is out of Cumberland County, Crossville, Tennessee, to be more specific. He is District 13, DA Bryant Dunaway. When they first put out a missing posters, he was missing October 1st, 2018. And, that's just wrong. I seen another updated one as recent as, I think it was 2021 last year. that said October 4th, which is wrong because he was in jail on October 9th. So for that to officially be put out there was absolutely wrong. They could have put the 9th and they would have been a little bit more right, if you ask me. And then he was last seen on October 20th, walking down Webb Avenue, which, again, the first missing poster was very vague. It didn't have any of the information that you see as far as Webb Avenue, October 20th. He was seen walking down Webb Avenue with an older man. So, I mean, just, I'll give you whatever after that, but he should have never been placed last seen the 1st or the 4th, because he was definitely in jail for the night. He spent one night in jail on the 9th. So for the lack of I mean, there is no investigation. You know, when I first ran about Parker, it amazed me for two reasons. One, it amazed me that nobody had heard the circumstances surrounding. Nobody, I mean, barely anybody. You can see people saying, I had no idea. I didn't hear that. I had no idea about these details. And a lot of them, to me, should have been made public. Maybe not as much as I've opened up my mouth, but I mean, it's coming up on 4 years now. And to me, people saying that they've never heard about any of this means nobody asked you anything. Nobody, if anybody has been talked to by officials, I would love to know that. But that just says to me they didn't do anything. I want to know what they did. If they question people, that would be a good thing for me to hear, I guess, at this point. But there's nothing. And then it also makes me think that, well, I believe this was happening, but maybe there's a possibility that something was happening at the same time. It could have been intertwined with it or totally unrelated, but it just makes me feel that if nobody heard that, is there something that I'm not hearing about? Because if there is, I would definitely like to know. I'm very, very private. I don't, unless you tell me your name can be put out there, I just assume that it can't. You don't even have to tell me. You, in fact, have to tell me I can put your name out there before I put your name out there. With Katie's, yeah. Yeah. Oh, Jen, I did not know that. I mean, I would have regardless, but yes, absolutely. Sorry, yeah, I didn't know that. I'm shocked. Yeah. Cuz I'm in Ohio, And I think it's a good thing for cuz I'm an outsider. I can see from the outside, but like I can't be up there. And Cindy invited me down this spring, and I'm planning, and I really want to, and I plan on, visiting some of the graves and any other family while I'm down there that, and I plan on making a thing. But he said, I'm all the way up here. I'll have to see. I'm hoping somebody sees this. Do we know? I'm only repeating because people like to listen in and not watch. Do we know what part of Webb Avenue? I'd not even heard about him until a year ago. Yeah, this October will be 4 years, and that's so crazy to me. And that's what I'm saying. When I started talking about him, I had friends just even like publicly just say I had no idea, and it's just nuts. I mean, not even those just people in the community hadn't heard the, and his face should have been blasted everywhere. We don't know what part of Webb Avenue. I can try to figure that out, but it was believed that he was staying at the Bread of Life, which if you look it up, it's only a few blocks away, and a few people people around seem to think that maybe he was heading back to a Bread of Life. But there's also Obed Park, which is a distance away, that it was a known spot too. So between a Bread of Life and Obed Park are the two places around there that I have, those are the vibes where he would have been around. So what happened with Parker is there has, from the gist I'm getting in this major lead that Ellie could have ran down or at least asked people about, and maybe they did. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I know, and I'm not naive. I know Ellie have to withhold stuff, but I'm a firm believer after so long, you have to give something. And especially in cases like this, it'll be very hard for me to believe that there is still not just one detail that you can withhold to keep the integrity of the investigation and catch the people that's responsible. And I firmly believe that in Parker's case. I mean, I can open up my mouth wide now and name everybody that I feel is involved or allegedly involved, according to this lead, that they could have been running down. And I would, there would still be things that I haven't said that could be only known, you know what I mean? So, and that's why I thought too, Jenny, like looking at it, he would have to get a ride. Like, I feel like somebody would have had to taken him to, or he was a walker. Maybe he was a walker. I don't know, but he had the whole circumstance surrounding what I'm hearing as far as this lead is he had a 2004 Kia Spectrum. It was dark brown. And it's kind of crazy because I have a 2004 Kia. Yeah, so it was crazy. And he was in over his head. There was a talk of $30,000, which, once I mentioned that, everybody's like, that's a little bit outlandish. I mean, everybody is the vibes are, yeah, he was in over his head, but 10, 15, 30, it's just a little extravagant. And so what it come down to is Parker owed a local dealer some money. And he also leveraged his car to the dealer's boyfriend for either the payment or a little bit of drugs or maybe a little bit of both. There was an argument started, and Parker was held at gunpoint by two gunmen, one of them being the dealer's boyfriend. And then after that, it was said that he went out to his dad's house with a friend, and he went out there to, honestly, ask for protection. He said, listen, I was held up at gunpoint. This is what's going on. It was said that he was actually on the phone with gunman, a dealer's boyfriend, at the time of this going on, and a friend was out there. That friend is no longer with us. It was later said that the title of the car was found in that friend's that went out with him, and he's no longer here, glove box. The title was found in his car glove box after he had passed. Somebody was cleaning out his car and happened to find Parker's title in his glove box. We don't know what happened to the title. We don't know what became of it. I'm very interested in knowing that. So there was a fight over, and there was talk about a fight into November, December. There was also talk of a bunch of people going up to Florida. There is also a little bit of talk of maybe Parker was seen after the 20th that I'm trying to corroborate, because I feel that is a very big piece of information, and it would put him not missing and alive for another day or two. He was seen during the daytime on the 20th between 12 and 4. So, maybe somebody seen even later that night would be a step in the right direction. And, well, what it was is they don't think it was that much. What everybody seems to think that did know about the situation was that he owed the dealer some money, and her boyfriend was trying to rip Parker off for the title and $300. The car was worth, it is said to have been about $1,500. So that's about how they feel with it. They don't think it was quite that much. But then again, he could have owed many people, but it just seems to be that, yeah, he was in over his head, but he wasn't quite that high. I mean, 15 is even highballing it. Just from the vibes that I'm getting, it could very well be. I very much, yeah, and you are absolutely right with that. So that's why, I want to put everything out there that we can, especially after nothing has been put out there. Because like I said, I'm here. I don't know Parker, and everything that can be out there needs to be put out there, especially in his situation. So it is said that because of the money he owed and the title of the car, that he didn't disappear on his own. The family has, and those that are the closest, they have come to a very hard realization that Parker may not be with them anymore. But that doesn't mean that they're going to stop fighting to bring him home and hold those accountable. So in a video that I did about Parker, and that's kind of where they're at, there's this, the family and those closest has said they went to investigators. They have known from day one about the two gunmen, about the car. They have said that the investigators went out, the car stayed at the dealer's house for 3 days. Investigators went out there and said that they couldn't tell it was Parker's because the emblems were gone. And my first thought was, it's not a freaking fancy car that I can't say off the top of my head because I don't know cars like that, but I would know a Kia if I seen a Kia. Not just because I own one, because it's not that, it's a car. It ain't nothing fancy. It ain't nothing special. And even put that aside, there are many other ways. I don't know. I mean, VIN numbers can get met, but we're talking like this is all I don't know. I just feel like they could have taken pictures, and maybe they did. Again, I would like to know if they did. But I feel like they're investigating. It's a Kia here. It isn't a Maserati. Okay, did I say that right? I don't even know. But I wouldn't know what that looked like. It's just, it's like a sudden fire, it's just nothing special. So I feel like And on top of that, there's many other ways they could have went about that if they went out there. You know, they could have very much said they went out there and never went out there. So my thing is they're from those closest to Parker, the vibes they were getting was, oh, don't, you know, it's either he's gone or he went behind a tree and overdosed. I mean, pretty much, come on. The dealer moved across town, so pretty much what big deal is it? And that's what the vibes are said to have been felt in what has been said. And you know, going through these cases, that's not the first time I've heard something like that. And it's crazy because, you know, everybody wants to complain about the job, and the response is, well, sometimes it goes with the job. And you don't get to act a certain way. You have to act a certain way. I was an STNA and a customer service rep, you know, say all that. You know how many times I wanted to step out of line and say something off the wall? But you know, it just goes with the job. So I don't know how any investigator or cop or anybody out there that claims to want to help to get justice for a family can say half the things that I've heard the families tell me have been said. Because if that's the case, you need to go find you a new job tomorrow. I can't believe that the people have the audacity to say the things that they've said to families. Just calling in. I mean, I guess you can say it's one thing when they don't answer, that there's lack of resources and yada, 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 yada. But when you do pick up that phone and you say the things that you say to them, you need to go get another job. And that's just how I feel about that. Because to tell a family that, oh, he probably went behind a tree and overdosed, if that's what, you know, what was said. And, you know, it's not just Parker's case. I've heard some things in other cases, too. And it just breaks my heart. Because that's your job, and it comes with a job. So, in the video that we did do about Parker last, I did ask anybody if they knew the name Steve. I was just asking if it rang a bell. I'm not going to give the last name because I feel the people that ring a bell to are the only people that I need to talk to anyways. And I'm not trying to bash and cause anybody's life to be torn upside down and all that good stuff. So I want to know if anybody knows the name Steve. And then I also want to know if anybody knows the name Roger or Rocky. Those are the three names now that I want to know about. If anybody knows the name Steve, Roger, or Rocky, I would like to talk to you. Or talk to them, you yourselves. I don't think I am able to talk to two of them currently. But I would like to talk to anybody that knows them. If they may have heard and I know people can't, you know, it's scary speaking on anything. And I know that. Maybe not for these reasons, but, you know, I don't like to talk too personally about myself because, you know, this is not what we're here for. But I'm going through my own, you know, stuff. About 11 years ago, I had something happen and it got buried. And that's where I can relate because I know things can get buried. I know things can not get taken care of. And I know that right now because about a month and a half ago, people finally came knocking at my door that I can't say a lot right now. So I know how important it is to not say things and not to go run my mouth. So, and I know it's very scary speaking, because if this goes, there's a possibility where I'll have to, and it's scary. I may not, it's just scary. So I just want everybody to know that. Yeah, about 11 years ago, I had something, and I was in a facility, and somebody didn't use a very, very, they weren't very nice, and they used a huge amount of power to try to have some things, to get some things that they wanted. We'll just say that. And I did report. I walked right out of that room and I reported it immediately, and it never left that facility. And so, in about, like I said, a month and a half ago, I had some people come knock at my door and say, we've been looking for you for a while, and we want to talk about this. And I gave a statement, and I bawled through that statement, bawled my eyes out, because that's a place I ain't been in a long time, and it's very vulnerable. So I just want people to know that I understand for my own reasons, and I understand that some things can't be said publicly. I get that. But I also do believe that over a certain amount of time, like, for instance, today is the 20-year anniversary of the murder of Joseph, TJ, Elizabeth, and Lacey from Gainesboro over in Jackson County, Tennessee. Another District 13, DA Bryant Dunaway, by the way. Today marks 20 years, and if you guys are on my page, you guys have seen that. I'm gonna pull up a picture here real quick. You guys have seen that post, and as awesome as that is to see, it's also heartbreaking, because I have had people say that they had not heard some of the details. There's this, and quite frankly, that's why I want to bring it up, is it's been 20 years. There hasn't been anything done, and there are people that didn't even know that there was a survivor. No matter what anybody does think out there, I'm kind of seeing, there are two different, but I am nowhere near ready to speak on what happened to these teenagers that night. I am nowhere comfortable, and I don't know a lot about it, but I want to so bad, because to see people in my comments saying that they didn't know even those details is truly heartbreaking, and I want to change that. When I first heard about all four of these teenagers, they went up in smoke in a trailer. They, from the gist I'm getting, they were all hanging out in a trailer. The trailer went up in flames, and there was a survivor parked in a car outside. But, I go look at something like that up, and there's no articles. There's nothing. And I made a post for them today, because I want to include them in my Unraveling Tennessee episodes, the series that we're doing. And I've tried to look for information on them, and I seen 2 vague articles on them. And quite frankly, I don't even know the public version of what was given that night. So I would really like to know. I would really just like to know, what did they have everybody believing happened that night, because there's just so much mystery behind that. And I know that there was a lot of people commenting on the post I made today, which is awesome. That got shared so much. It has been 20 freaking years. And for this to still be this big of a mystery, and for people to know this little, there were people that made this very, very, and they didn't even know that there was a survivor. The people that made this right here didn't know that there was a survivor. There are talk about many rumors, and I can imagine they ran wild in a situation like this. It's just, it's crazy to think about that there are families out there today, 20 years, and for something like that, we have 4 victims and a survivor. And to this day, a whole community that loved them still don't really know what happened to them. And it's time. So I would like to bring them into I don't know a lot about them. In fact, like when I first had people bring my attention to it, I thought it was just Parker. And then I found out that there were 3 other victims and a survivor. And nothing. 2 articles that pretty much they pretty much copy and pasted each other and put them out. So I would very much like to update this. And, there were, like I said, there was a lot of comments on the posts that I made. I just want to make everybody very clear. If I want information. I want people that know them to come speak. You do not have to do it publicly. You can do it privately. But you are more than welcome to come speak publicly for yourself. I would love to know each and every one of them. And I will work very hard as bringing them, the 4 together. Those are 4 people with 4 different sets of families, 4 different sets of loved ones, 4 different sets of why they were there and who they were. So yeah, I'm very interested in knowing more about them, and you don't have to do it publicly. I don't care about all that. I'm not into dropping names and getting. I'm not into that. I just want to know. I want to be able to speak about them, and I've just seeing the outreach on my page makes me want to speak about them. They deserve that. Every family on here deserves that. Today marks 20 years. Back in 2002, I was in the 7th grade. It just really makes you wonder. It makes me wonder even more how they got away with silencing that so much. But that's why we're here. That is why we're here. So then, because you have cases like Aaron Shane Key and Kaitlynn Ledbetter, and this whole road. Now these 2 were on the same road. Aaron, when he was murdered, and they want to say it was suicide, that's a really crazy case that you guys should go check out. He was said to have hung himself, and his girlfriend she said that she pretty much watched, couldn't save him. He didn't break his neck, so he didn't die right away. And instead of going back to the house that she was in. She walked that red line all the way down to that trailer, and that she had them call 911. Those green dots represent around about how many people were at the house. The circle represents where Aaron was supposedly said to have hung himself. He was staying in this house for about a year with his girlfriend. He was done. He woke up that day and said that he was done. Take me to my dad's. He spent the day with his dad till about 5. Got dropped back off, came to get rent. And what happened in 45 minutes before his dad was supposed to come pick him back up is a huge mystery, surrounded by at least three stories. And a autopsy that does not match what his mother seen and reports from those around her. So that is a very interesting case. His mother, for instance, he didn't even they didn't take the top of the rope, because in my opinion, his DNA wouldn't be on there. They didn't secure the crime scene, didn't interview anybody separately, didn't even go into the house. His mom went to the crime scene. His mama went in the house. His mama took the rope and his cap with blood on it in a liquor bottle. Dunaway went out to the crime scene, which was a said suicide. Dunaway also told the Cash family, Courtney's family, that the knife was not a factor in her murder, yet her murder, she was stabbed to death. I mean, and she didn't die from those wounds, she bled out. But that knife would have been a huge factor, if you ask me, and anybody else. I'm very excited because she got an interview aired. I was talking about when I first came back on. That was done back in 2020, and it was aired last night, and I loved it. I applaud Dennis. He did amazing. And I hope he keeps spotlighting the 13th. I really do. With Courtney, if you've seen my podcast, the episode, I don't even know what to call them, episodes, podcasts, I don't know. I feel like I do a little bit of everything, so I don't know what to call them. They highlighted some things that I've been saying from the beginning. The family just has very legit questions, and from everything that I've seen, I'm not saying that Wayne was innocent, and neither is he, and neither is the family and those closest to him. He was there. He was there, and yeah. But their versions are very different, and just everything that I've seen supports more of what Wayne did say. Even to this, as recent as COVID, I seen a letter that he just, and back in his interrogation way back in 2014, he gave it about 12 hours after he was arrested. He said that the fight started by the couch. Austin said the fight started in the bedroom, more specifically, they were in bed. I have been saying from the beginning that I think some version of that is true, and it started in the bedroom, but not specifically in the bed. And Wayne kind of confirmed that. He kind of thought, he definitely confirmed that. And from what I seen in the interrogation, the LE even stated, if it started in the bed, there'd be more blood in that bed. So just in that Wayne, Austin, he wants to separate himself so much from the drug scene, so much from Wayne. There was talk that they had just gotten a bag the day before or a few days before that. I would like to talk to the person they got that back. Not to put here. I don't care about that. I just want to confirm it. Did they or didn't they? That's a huge question. Did they or didn't they? I mean, at this point, we all know they were doing drugs. I don't care. We shouldn't care. That's not the waha moment here, or aha moment here. It's the fact that there were two grown-ass men in that house for whatever happened 24 hours after Courtney had passed, and then she was stuffed in a box, and they still didn't leave right away. They stayed for a few hours. It's the fact that that morning, when somebody actually did on the 19th call 911, that there are no calls, timeline of calls that went out anywhere. It's the fact that they threw evidence away, didn't test any evidence. It's Austin's word against Wayne's. And from what I've seen, they pretty much threw away anything that would implicate or challenge what Austin was saying. Wayne said that Austin collected all the paraphernalia because they were one of the reasons why they didn't call was because they were so worried about CPS coming in and taking the baby and seeing all the drugs. So what Austin do? Went around collecting all of it. They threw that trash bag away. My two biggest things, that grabbed me about this whole situation, and I'm not saying this is what it comes down to, but this is what it comes down to. Wayne talks about this after it happened. The gist of it is, I feel like the two men got into it and she tried to separate it. And in the midst of it, she got stabbed twice in the shoulder and in the hand. And they weren't just little. I mean, this wound was on her hand down to the bone. They could have just chopped her thumb off almost. That's how bad it was. And then later on, she gets stabbed in the shoulder. And it's interesting because as I'm reading through, I've got Wayne's interrogation transcript, and then I have Austin's preliminary hearing transcript. And then I have picture, that what I've been shown and given. And, it has been given to me totally unbiased. And there's just a few things that I feel is just the I don't know what you call it. So you have Wayne saying that they got into the scuffle, they cooled down, Courtney was bleeding, Austin got stabbed 3 times in the back lung area and 1 time in the head. Now, I've never seen the time in the head confirmed. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I'm saying I didn't see that. And from the reports I've seen, the Ellie wasn't too concerned with it either. From what I seen, that the other 3 stab wounds, 2 of them were 2 inches deep, and the other one was about 3 inches deep. But he was out of the hospital in 6 days. They said that his vitals coming in. Yeah, he was hot. He was anxious. He was, all of those things, which I feel would be contributed for the situation, but more for the drug use. He says that Austin says that Wayne made him shoot him up, but I mean, it's just very clear at this point that they were on drugs. They were using, they had a monthly, all three of them got together monthly to go pick up their Subutex from the clinic. And Wayne had 2 loaded syringes in his pocket. And, I think around the time Courtney was trying to leave Austin, it's been proven. And Austin says that he has no idea, but with everything that I've seen, I can't believe that he didn't know. For at least a year, Courtney talked just about how miserable they were and how bad it was. And Wayne even said that he had to split a physical altercation, like literally split them up. So I just can't imagine that Austin had no clue. But I imagine, Wayne had known Courtney since she was 16, and I could see some type of, protective thing going on. And I feel like there's this major tension on top of the drug situation. I can see where Wayne started to become paranoid and thinking something was happening. I believe that Wayne developed feelings for Courtney, and I believe all of it came to a play that night. And I believe that it was 2 men nitpicking and testing each other, and it just exploded. And I think Courtney got in the middle of it. It's interesting that Wayne says that, and this wasn't in the interrogation, this was in letters that I seen, that Courtney would come in between them and she would be facing Austin. Now, Courtney has a stab wound to the shoulder, and we have a hunting knife that is missing, and evidence thrown away, and people saying that the knife wasn't a factor. And it just makes you question, because Wayne never admits, but he suggests that when the fight started, may have been the time that Courtney got it in the thumb area. Okay. But he doesn't ever quite understand how Courtney got stabbed in the shoulder, because according to him, they fell into the bathroom. Austin was on top of Wayne, and that's when Wayne stabbed him the 3 times to get him off of him. He says he doesn't understand how he could have been the one to stab Courtney while they were in the bathroom, and Austin was on top of Wayne. Courtney did come in with a knife, he says, and for Austin. So he really just does not understand. I can imagine that Courtney was in between, trying to break it up. They both kind of corroborate that a little bit. So it makes you wonder if maybe Austin stabbed her. And I'm not saying, this is just my opinion strictly. It makes me wonder if Austin maybe have accidentally stabbed her too. Which would make sense why this hunting knife is gone. I mean, they had it and it was lost. And then there was a knife that was never even looked for. Major things that could have corroborated whose fingerprints was on that knife. My thing is between throwing the evidence away and not testing the evidence that you had, what physical evidence did they have that supported any of these 2 stories? What physical evidence did they have to link Wayne as being the sole person responsible in holding Austin hostage? What evidence did they have that linked him there? Because Austin says that he didn't have knives, he didn't have phone, he didn't have a way, and he was held hostage. But then in his own testimony, he states that he cut the screen, that he cut the cord to a lamp to try to defibrillate a still conscious and talking Courtney, tried to give CPR to a still conscious and talking Courtney. Now, when Wayne says they went to give CPR, it was him. He was, he explained it. He was pumping her mouth, but he never said that she was talking. He said that he was giving her CPR, and at some point, they just both realized that she passed. Austin says that they took all the phones, but from what I've seen and I've been told, there was a working phone found in the exact room that Austin had said to have been held hostage in. But I want to go back to this window, okay? Now, this window is what bothers me the most, and I cannot let go of this window. And the car, which we'll get to. Those are the two things that I cannot let go of. So Austin states that during the time after they all cooled down, they kind of, after in the bathroom, Austin's on top of Wayne, jab, jab, jab. Courtney gets stabbed. And then they're all just kind of like, whoa, after that. And they calm down. And Wayne says it's at this point that everybody was scared. I mean, even Courtney, he says, of they didn't want to call. They said that they were worried about the drug paraphernalia. They were worried about them coming in and seeing the baby there and looking around and seeing the situation and taking the baby away. But the point is they were all afraid. They were all, I wouldn't say equal, that's not what I'm going for, but they were all on the same, there was no hostage situation. So during that time, Wayne says that they came up with a few different plans. And Austin says that he escaped out of this window. Mind you, he got stabbed in the back. He says he's bleeding profusely, he had blood everywhere. At one point he had to duct tape it. I did a whole other episode on this, and it goes much into detail. But my point is he says by the time he jumped out that window that the blood stopped. And the way he describes his situation during that whole 30 hours plus, he was in dire situation. He was dizzy. He was near death. And that was one of the big reasons why he couldn't get his daughter and Courtney help or get them to safety, was he was just too weak. He was a victim. He was stabbed. So he cuts the window, jumps backwards out the window with the baby in his hand, and lands on his back. And my biggest questions is, where's the blood? That's a white window for sure. Where's the blood? I mean, even if it did stop, you're saying that when you're bear hugging a 1.5 to 2-year-old, and you're jumping backwards out this window, and none of it blood. Was there blood on the ground? Was there blood anywhere around the outside of that window? Not that I seen. Not that I know. There's sure ain't blood on that window frame. But another big thing is, besides that, is it's cut very, very, very neatly. And excuse me. But I'm not a CSI, but if you are watching, Heather, which, yeah, if you would think that if somebody cut that window and jumped from the inside outside, wouldn't that screen, even if it didn't come off completely, But wouldn't that screen be pushed out and not in? Because like I'm about half tempted to cut my screen window and see if I just cut it, if it'll just roll in like that. And you guys really don't know how half tempted I am to go out backwards out that window just to take a picture of it, because that's how much I want to know. But wouldn't you think that that screen would not be on the inside that way if he stood at that window, turned around with the baby in his hand, and busted from the inside out? Wouldn't that window rip more? I mean, he's a grown-ass man. He's hopping out that window. Wouldn't that be on the outside? Wouldn't there be blood? Wouldn't there be blood on the outside of the window on the ground where he fell? Was there on the ground? Because I've never seen any note of that. We know that there is not blood on the window. When the officers arrived, okay, so that was Austin's version of what he did. So if you go back to Wayne says that at one point there was this talk of him actually leaving and Austin and them calling it in and saying 2 masked men came in and did it. So there was never any talk back in 2014 in his interrogation. It was never questioned. Nobody never questioned Austin's account. Not officially, that is. They just literally ran with it. So you go talk to Wayne, and Wayne was like, he tells you, he said, yeah, we had this plan. I was going to leave. They were going to call and say these 2 masked men showed up, and I wasn't going to have any part of it. And the window was in reference to what Austin was saying. He said he cut the window that way to go along with the masked man theory. He never went out that window. He walked right out the front door. And if you look at this window, I'm asking, what do you think? Because I don't think anybody went out that window. I'm not saying he went out that the door. I don't know, but I don't think he went out that window. So then you get to the car. Now this is a picture that was taken in the police as evidence. Okay, so Austin says after he jumped out the window, he ran around and he threw the baby in the front seat, hurried up around to the car door, got in, and he left, which he says that the keys were in his pocket because Wayne never patted him down. But he also says that he changed from underwear to sweats to jeans that morning before he left. So how did the keys just get in his pocket? Where did he get the knife to cut the window? Where did he get the knife to cut the cord? Because he said that Wayne collected all of that. But police evidence photos that I have seen, there was knives everywhere. So we go back to this car. So Austin says he jumps out this window, throws the baby in the front seat, gets in the car, drives to his parents' house. When the officers first arrive so we know that ultimately Courtney was put in a box 24 hours. She died early morning hours, March 18, 2014. She was put in the box 24 hours later on the morning of March 19th. She was put in a box. Austin says he did not see this, did not engage in this. He was in the bedroom. Wayne asked him, and he said he couldn't. I can't. Not that he wouldn't. Not that he's not putting his wife in a box, but he just, he says that I'm not doing that, man. And shortly after that is when he bursts out the window. Okay, so he says he puts the baby in the box. Well, he says that he never left that, until the moment he left. He didn't see Wayne put her in the box. He didn't see any of that. He was in that room. Well, then you go ask Wayne. And Wayne said that after she was put in the box, he went out to the car at least twice. You ask Wayne, he also says there was talk and there was a plan of taking Courtney out on some road and dumping her body. And then you go back to what Austin says, and he says he put the baby in the front seat and drove to his parents' house. This is how his seat was when the officers took a picture. How did he put the baby in the front seat? Because if you think about what Wayne said, and you think about how the seats were in the car, it kind of makes you wonder if they was contemplating whether that box would fit in that back seat, wouldn't you ask me? Or wouldn't you say? By looking at it. It kind of looks like they were trying to decide if they could fit that box in the back seat. So you can see where the family has and those who love her have very legit questions. So when let's go back to what Austin said. Austin said that he did not see nor engage in putting Courtney in that box. So when officers arrived on the scene, before any of this occurred, it was two of them. They got to the scene. They looked around outside. An officer was posted at the front door while an officer went and checked the perimeters around to the back. And that's when that officer first came upon the cut screen. And he observed it as being the window of a young child's room. He observed a lot of other details, but when he was asked if there was blood on the window, he could not recall, which I find very sketch because you noticed everything else about that window, that it was cut, that it was a baby's room, but you wouldn't be able to recall bright red blood on a white window area. And even after that, after everything else unfolded, you wouldn't think to go back and take pictures of the ground if there was blood on the ground dripping anywhere. I don't know. So while they're there and he's observing this window, he gets a call from the hospital. Okay, because Austin went from his duplex after he jumped out the window, threw the baby in the front seat. He didn't go to a hospital. He went to his parents' house, which is kind of crazy given the circumstances and the statements that he made of he says that he just wanted to get to his dad, but his dad wasn't there. His mom wasn't there. So it was a whole fiasco of phone calls that morning. Before initially the hospital, you have the 911 phone call that Wayne Marcella made around before he left or after. We don't even know. We don't know if Wayne made that call actually inside the house or after he left down the way, because it pinged to a location that the officers first arrived at, and there was nothing suspicious. So then they were directed to Courtney and Austin's duplex. But we don't know the time. We don't know from asking Wayne where he made that 911 phone call. We don't know if Austin was still in the house or was it after Austin left. We don't know any of that. We don't know the times of the calls made out from Austin's house when he got to his parents' house. We don't know the times of the doctor's office that both of his parents were said to have been at when they called there looking for them. We don't have the times coming out of the hospital or when the officers arrived or any of that information. There's nothing. We don't. So, it's said that they put her, Wayne puts her in the box a little after the sun, about between 6:30, 7, 8, but they didn't leave. And officers, from what I've been, told in by accounts, it was more closer to between 10 and noon that anybody was alerted to the situation. So we got break and dawn when they put her in the box. And it's still about noon till anybody is officially there. So while he's investigating this window, though, he gets a call from the hospital. And the hospital says, "We have a man here saying the last thing he saw was his wife being put in a box." The last thing he saw, which would indicate that that door wasn't shut and he did not go out that window, that he walked right out the front door, that he said was barricaded by a chair. Now, I get when Wayne left, he could have moved the chair, but was there any evidence of that chair being out of its natural place? We don't know. But my thing is, I understand Wayne is not innocent. Somebody could have called. And yeah, they may have, been more afraid of getting in trouble. I get that. But Wayne has been the most consistent in everything that he says. And if you really look at what he's saying and the evidence that we have left, where does it point to? I don't believe it points to a hostage situation. I have told Cindy from the beginning, she came at me unbiased, and everybody around her and all the support. I don't know why, but that story doesn't hold up. And I want to know what evidence they had to only put Wayne in there. I want to know so bad. Because if you look at it and it comes right down to it, it suggests what Wayne's saying is a little bit more true than what Austin was ever saying. Austin has tried very hard to make himself very distant from the situation. And he did change his story quite a bit back then. And it just makes you wonder. And every part of me feels like maybe, half justice has been served here. And that's not complete justice. That's not complete justice at all. Austin has reached out to me. And he has said that he was willing to give his side of the story. I am very interested in knowing his perspective and what perspired that night. I'm very open for him to answer the questions that I do have and try to find a reasoning behind these things. I very much am. But I cannot, for now, as it stands, it's not adding up. And I want to know why evidence was thrown away, why it was handled this way. What was their reasoning for not testing this evidence? What was the reasoning for not pushing Austin's story? Where in his accounts was that moment where you said, "Oh, I believe him"? Because I think you were the only one that believed him. I don't think the judge believed him. I don't think anybody in that courtroom believed him. And that's my opinion. Because if you look at it and I want to go through the transcripts and I want to go through it all. Because if you really, really listen to what Wayne's saying, he's not saying he's innocent, y'all. He's not. And the family doesn't believe that. Like I said, Courtney is dead. And she laid on her living room floor for 24 hours. She did not die immediately from her knife wound. She bled out. And somebody could have done something. But myself and many believe that this was not a hostage situation. This were two people that were very afraid. And maybe even more, one was manipulated and taken advantage of. The power of persuasion is huge. Given the circumstances, I can believe that. I have been asking myself that forever. I want to know because you have a Cash name here. My only thing is just from talking to many other families and learning the things I am learning, that it would have cost too much. Because and even then, I don't understand, because this is Johnny Cash. Courtney's grandpa was Tommy Cash. And it's in Tennessee. I mean, I guess I don't want to throw that around lightly anymore, because I should be saying it is Tennessee. One of the first things I told Cindy and everybody that reached out to me was, I grew up on country. I camped in Kentucky, Boonesboro. We did the whole Pigeon Forge, all of that. My grandma would go to the Grand Ole Opry every chance she got. A few years before she died, she actually finally got to do her dream and walk across stage. I was a grandparent's girl. I grew up on Johnny Cash. When my grandma died, I went through a whole phase, because she died and she loved Johnny, that I scoped and rabbit holed the whole Johnny Cash family, just to feel closer to them. And I told her I never heard of Courtney passing. Never. Not in Ohio. And I told her, I said, you start getting that out of Tennessee. It needs to get out of Tennessee. It never got out of Tennessee. people start asking. Courtney's mom has custody of their young daughter. There came a point in time where it was just not a good situation for her to be in. And as far as I know, Austin he's never reached out and tried to visit, communicate, or have a relationship with her. There is speculation and maybe reason to believe that, I don't know if I would go as far as to say it was a whole planned operation, but a moment of opportunity. I mean, that he would have gotten a victim's fund in a package for custody of Cami. Or sorry if you're watching, I just love you guys. The baby. I try not to do that. I really do. From what I hear, that Austin wasn't really a worker. So, I mean, there's just a lot of possibility. Courtney was leaving him. Wayne, Austin wants to say Wayne was the one saying some outlandish remarks about Courtney, fuck her, or she's a whore, some really crude things after Courtney passed. But given the things that I've seen that Courtney wants to leave and how volatile the relationship could be, it really makes more sense that what Wayne said, he said he was shocked. Before Courtney passed, he was caring. What can I do? Trying to comfort her and help her. And then it was like almost immediately after she passed, he flipped the switch and was like, fuck her. Courtney was said to have went and seen an ex literally the weekend before this happened. And I'm sure he knew. There's no way there's no way that he didn't know that her foot was out the door. There's no way he couldn't have known. And there's so much loaded behind what could have been the reason for that night, not to question Austin. That is all I'm saying. There is way too much here that is corroborated with what Wayne is saying for them never to have questioned him. And from the interrogation, that I won't ever really, I have to have permission to release that stuff. I will never just do that to I won't ever do that or post anything that a family won't, that I find. But if I were ever able to post that transcript of Wayne's interrogation, you will clearly see that they were not trying to push the narrative or they weren't trying to deny the narrative that Austin was pushing. They didn't want to hear about the narrative that Wayne was pushing. They did not want to. He would literally start to be like, yeah, but yes, this happened, but it didn't happen like that. And they would be done with it. He would be in mid-sentence. And I'd find myself be like, well, what was he going to say? That was very important. What else was he going to say? We don't know. I think a lot of what Wayne has to say, and there's a bunch of people saying, well, they silenced Austin. That's why they did. No, I don't think he was the one that they silenced. I think they silenced Wayne. They just heavily censored Austin. And I bet it was pretty hard with the amount of times that he changed his story. I almost wonder if that's maybe why Austin hasn't reached back out to me, as somebody told him not to talk. I don't know why Austin would be so heavily protected over. I mean, if you want to come down to the nitty gritty, dirty details, who the fuck is Austin over a Cash name? Excuse my language, but I mean, come on. If we want to be super, material, all that, it's a Cash. Who the hell is Johnson? I don't know. That is a question that I have been asking myself since I've been down this. Who is he that this could happen? But then if you look at the whole district, y'all, I'm telling you, it's not that far-fetched. It's who's running that shit. That's who. That chart with all that blue, that's who. The fact that we have Aaron, we have Kaitlynn, we have Lisa Bowles, Paul. Those 3 cases, this is Lisa. The person that was said to have murdered Lisa was also down the road on Turkeytown at a well-known house at Aaron's crime scene. They say Lisa committed suicide. They say Aaron committed suicide. Then you got Miss Kaitlynn. Also, she's missing from Turkeytown Road. I had somebody post a map. I think it was an 11-minute walk from where Aaron was supposed to have hung himself to where Kaitlynn went missing from her dad's house. Very, very suspicious circumstances there. I also did an unraveling on her. You can find out about all of these in more depth. I just got so excited about Courtney and Dennis mentioning Dunaway in the district that I wanted to touch on all of them because it is the same. It's the same district. Joseph Parker, Lacey Greer, Elizabeth Maddox, and TJ Koment. That one I wasn't sure on. Are from Gainesboro, Tennessee, Jackson County, 13th District. Courtney Cash, Putnam County, 13th District, DA Dunaway. Kaitlynn Ledbetter, 13th District, DA Bryant Dunaway. Aaron Shane Key, 13th District, Bryant Dunaway. Parker Morris, Cumberland County, Crossville, Tennessee, 13th District, Bryant Dunaway. Lisa Bowles Paul, 13th District, DA Dunaway. This whole board and more is District 13, DA Bryant Dunaway. That whole blue you see is DA Bryant Dunaway, 13th District. That's his backyard. That's what I've been calling it. That's what's happening in his backyard. But see, his reach, he's got reach. And it's not just the 13th. This happens all over Tennessee, and I'm going to grow these other districts. Because if you ask me, the whole state of Tennessee needs a clean. Maybe not everybody. I'm sure there's some good ones there. I hear the families even tell me there's some good ones, Ash. We are making connections. I've been doing something behind the scenes that I haven't even said anything to a lot of people, because I want to focus right now on getting every single story, every single family that would like me to know I don't have to know everything. That's up to you. It depends on how much you let me in. But when it comes down to it, I don't have to know anything more than the public knows, should know, that you feel. And I would love to speak on them all. And that's what I want to focus. That's what I am focusing on right now. That is my main goal right now. But yes, we are definitely there are definitely things happening, and we're trying to make those connections. And going back to everybody saying things, and I appreciate it. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, even with the slideshow, that was Lisa. They made the billboard, and Lisa was like, I want to do something. Can't we do a slideshow and run it and a banner and all this? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not very artistic, but we're going to give it a go. And yeah, so that's how we came about it. And then we got the chart. And that's all we're trying to do. And they've been working very hard. I am just coming in. I started my page on just, and I still do, and I still will, just do families in general around anywhere. And then I met Lisa, and then, I was brought into this group of families and advocates and supporters that have been around for a hell of a lot longer than me. You have people writing their officials. You have people doing the most in their community to help raise awareness for what these families are trying to do. You have these brave families coming forward and telling these people their story. And they have been here, and they have been working so hard. And it's a private group. It's a very sensitive, as you guys can hear and see, it is a very corrupt, sensitive, very fearful situation. These are people's lives. This is not a Lifetime movie. This is real life where people are afraid to speak. And they're more afraid to speak and be outed and have it out there and nothing still get done. All I did was came in there and said, fuck it, I'll take the heat for it all. Who wants to tell me so I can go up there and air out everybody's dirty laundry that they want me to? Anybody on board? And that's all I did. I said, you have your posts, you have your public group or your private group, you have all of the stories in there. So a few of us decided, fuck it, let's go public. Anybody that's willing to tell their story public. Anybody, and then group them together. Put them together. I'm a reader. I'm not a public speaker if you guys haven't caught on to that part yet. I'm a writer, so I understand, and I'm a visual person. I'm not an art person, but I appreciate it because I'm a visual, and I'm a reader. All I wanted to do was bring all that and bring it together. But it was all them. It was they deserve the thanks. They deserve the support because it does take a lot to do what they're doing. And they have been working at it for a while now. I'm just the loudmouth that said, fuck it, I'm going public. Who's on board with me? And you know what? Look, we're getting there. But all I'm doing is taking what they were already doing and putting it out here. The worst or best that I can. The facts are there, y'all. I'm getting better. And I appreciate it because if you go to my other videos, it's nervous because the way I run my page. And, I wanted to come on there and set a very serious tone that I am not going to put up with shenanigans. So I was stiff as a board. But now I know these families and they know me and they trust me. And I know enough to speak on them and I feel comfortable and the training wheels are coming off. And, a lot of them tell me that if I would just go on there and be exactly who I am when I talk to them, I'd probably get a lot better feedback. So it's a work in progress. And I appreciate you guys because the main point of this is to just bring awareness. I can chop it up and then you can go into the groups and put it, but the awareness is still there. I know people laugh at me. I'm very aware. I know people are out there that's probably saying mean things. And I do see it and people do tell me. But I will not engage. Because that just takes away. I really just take it and get and find the positive and do better. Because the last thing I want to do is have people making fun of me. Because that takes away from the families. The last thing I want to do is fight with somebody. Because that takes away from the families. But I do see it. And it doesn't get to me. It just makes me do better. So. I am not very consistent. I didn't have a lot of following. I've only been doing this, had my page since October. But now that I am, I will promise to try to be more consistent. I'm just dealing with a lot of sick right now. And I think I'm actually getting sick myself. So I'm going to take a few days, but please do not stop that. I will be working on the slideshow. I will be doing little things while I'm not posting or reaching out, but please still reach in because I will get back to you. I never want to miss you. So they're doing wonderful things. And, as a creator or whatever the hell you want. I don't know what to call this whole shenanigans, okay? I just am trying to be like, Tennessee, get your shit together. LE, get your shit together everywhere. Stop being mean to these damn families. It's part of the fucking job. And honestly, for them to tell me shut up and they'll take care of things and then actually do that. I mean, you know how many people, once they seen D.A. Bryant Dunaway and that whole list of blue right there, and that connected for them? And I see people come on my YouTube and see Unraveling Courtney, Unraveling Parker, Unraveling, Kaitlynn, Unraveling, and that connects that for them. And that makes a difference. It's not just one. It's not just even two. It's not just two grieving families. It's an issue. So my main job is just to talk about bring all those posts and pictures you see to life as best as I can. And I appreciate everybody that's willing to help us do that. It isn't just me. I want to see more Cindy in my inbox saying how happy she is that that's finally getting aired. I want to bring Parker home. I want to bring awareness to, if Dunaway needs to be the F out of there, which I believe that he does. Sorry. That cough got out of there. But he does. So this is just a forewarning. I'm getting better at this speak, and the training wheels will be coming off, and you'll get to see a little bit more personality come out. But if not, you can laugh, you can comment, you can click, you can do all that. Because at least if you do it for 3 seconds, that family's still getting that awareness. And on that note, I will get off of here. I have to go back and see when actually I hopped on so everybody's not watching well, honestly, that was a good half hour of that chart being up there for awareness. So I'm not too upset about it. I'm glad you guys stuck around. All 4 of you. No, I'm happy. I'm so happy. And I want to see more. I want to see more families come. I want to see more people step up. I want to see that, you know what they say about like circumstantial evidence? It's not really, it's hard. But, oh, what is her name? Oh gosh, she is my favorite too. Cold Justice, right? Cold Justice. She says it amazingly. She says, circumstantial evidence is like a stack of pencils. You have 1 pencil and you can snap that in half. You have 2, maybe even 3 or 4, depending on how strong you are. But you get a whole stack of pencils and you put them together and you try to break that. Good luck. And that's how I feel about the families of Tennessee. They may be able to break 1, 2, maybe even a handful of you. But if you all come together and you all stand together and you all start speaking at once, they're not going to be able to break you. I appreciate you guys for watching. Like I said, it'll probably be a few days before I come back on. I want to do more open chat. It really helps me try to talk, show a little picture here or two, and try to pay attention to the comments and engage. So I thank you guys for coming on and helping me with that. Also, you guys are all teaching me. So I love it. And through that, we're bringing awareness. So help me so I can help them. So we can all help them, if that makes sense. If you see any family on here, if you notice, I have a PayPal attached to my YouTube. I have a PayPal attached to my Facebook page. That is for the families. We were going to do a fundraiser. We decided, or we couldn't figure it out. I tried to get a bunch of people to help me figure it out. We were going to charge 99 cents for everybody to get in. And I figured 99 cents would go a hell of a long way. We couldn't figure it out. So I just took that PayPal and we're going to leave it up for a while. And when we take it down, we're going to do this whole big thing. And I just really want to give a huge contribution to all the families that I've aired on my channel. 100% goes to them. I would love to build a community that wants to just give back, just give to them. You watch any interview, you will hear a family in need. You will know what they need. And I trust them. I know that people are iffy on doing that, but I trust very much that when I donate and I put into there, that it's going for good reason. I want to make my own donation. I am going to try to at least donate $25 to each family that I have ran. So that is my goal that I'm going to do. So that by the time that we cash it out, it will go equally to everybody. And I would love to see some evidence being tested, or more billboard, every single person in blue, orange, and pink here to have their own billboards. I mean, can you imagine the 13th district alone, every single blue that you see right now having a billboard up? That's what I want to see. But more importantly, I would like the LA to get off their asses and do their jobs. And if I could help support them and support these families and not give them a choice, and have to, then that'd be awesome too. So yeah, I have very big goals and very big dreams for this page. And it all starts with them. So if you would like to be a part of that, I'm glad you guys are here, and you will get to see me just get better for them. I don't want to just run these stories. I've grown very close to the people that I talk about and their families. And I always want that line of communication open for them. And I want there to come a day where I no longer have to talk about Aaron, Courtney, Kaitlynn, Parker, Joseph, Lacey, Elizabeth, TJ. I want that day. But there it is. I want to get the slideshow out next week. I would really love to do it Monday, so I want to try to have everybody's photos and information with that photo in by Sunday. But it's something we can keep adding to, guys. Even this list you see here. Don't come at me and be like, Ma, it should be on. It will. Reach out to me, and I will make sure that they're on there. We want to fill them up as much as we can. We want you on there. I do not want to miss you. So please email it. You can message the page. You can drop it in a comment and tag me. However you can figure out how to get that photo to me and that information, you go ahead, and do not let Sunday stop you. Like I can continuously upload and redo. So, yeah. I thank everybody for watching tonight. This is Ash with TC Spotlight. Until next time, you guys stay safe this season and out on those roads. I know a lot of people are traveling that I've talked to. So you guys stay safe out there.